said, okay, dokie. So good morning, good morning. Yeah, I have been really in this idea of manifestation, and some of you know Eileen very well. So Eileen and I have been like traveling yogis. We've been doing retreats, private retreats at people's homes. And so we go there and they have their friends gather for about 3 days, and we cook for you vegetarian, vegan foods, and we do all the practices with you. And it's just pretty special, you know. And we kind of say, if you have a home by the water, it's even better. But we'll definitely. We just went down to Princeton, and it was spectacular. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because of what happens in our minds when we tap into manifestation, right? Is the fears and the doubts. So, you know, Eileen and I are like, we want to go to Hawaii and do a retreat, you know. And so we start talking about it. She and I have actually, some of you don't know me too well that are here today, but I've been doing a lot of green witch medicine and training, apprenticing with Robin. And, you know, one of the things is do spells around things that you really want to happen. And so she and I have been doing these spells around manifesting more of these retreats because we just love them so much. But as we were talking about the Hawaii retreat, you know, and she's so cute because she's saying, and then we're going to have a room that looks like this. And then all of a sudden my head went, well, who's going to come? And who's, you know, and how are we going to get, and right? So our manifestation has these moments that everything is good until you start trying to put the details together. And one of the things that I love, and I've been saying it for like 2 weeks now, is the idea that possible or impossible is not up to us. That's only up to nature. Nature will decide whether something's possible or impossible. What's up to us is to dream big. And so while we were on this last retreat, this one woman who was on the retreat, she was telling a story to us about some of her friends who she knew who were always doing these crazy things. And this is one of the things that they did, which I love. They found out at the last minute that they could go away because somebody's job, you know, shifted or whatever. And so what they decided to do was to pack a small bag, suitcase, go to the airport, and the third place on the, you know, departures is where they would go. Like, really? I know, you're shaking your head. Don't you want to do that though? Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure you're thinking the same thing that we all thought. Well, if you got to the third one and needed some kind of a visa or needed something that you didn't have, then you had to go down one more. Okay. So they got that covered. But this is the thing about our dreams, is how much do we block because something comes up. And so now I'm in the place where the universe will figure out the details. That's not up to me. And so in the Radiant Sutras, which most of you know that I absolutely adore, it speaks about the place in between. Let me see if this is the right one. Watch for a moment in which two opposing perceptions occur: wanting to go and not wanting, knowing and simultaneously not knowing. And in the midst of this dilemma, let go of both perceptions and jump into the space in between. Reality flashes forth, and your being is in the shining field of awareness. This is the place where you can play. The place you can play is not where it's yes or no, I can, I can't. It's that place right in the middle that you don't know what's going to happen. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and close your eyes. Be aware of those dreams that we have, that we place those, ooh, but how is that going to happen? And how is that going to happen? Leave that up to the universe. You and me dream. The universe figure out the details. Play in the space in between. Bring your hands together at your heart center. And inhale for the sound of Om, deep breath in. Release your hands, open your eyes, and go ahead and come onto your hands and knees and press back into child's pose. Pose of the child. Breathe in, breathe out. And trust. Play with the place that's between your breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. That's why it's always said that some of the best times, let me say it differently than best, one of the powerful times to meditate is that place at sunrise and sunset, that in-between place. Rise up onto your hands and knees. Then slide your right knee in front of your left knee. I know it's early, right knee in front of left knee. And then take your arms forward again. Let your seat come back slightly, as if you're doing a child's pose here, but lift your seat a little bit higher. Walk your hands forward, and press your seat back. It's like you're moving toward a Gomukhasana, but you're leaning forward, letting your outer hips stretch. And then slowly walk yourself back until you're sitting between your heels, maybe a block or a blanket you could sit on, keeping the knee in front of the knee. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Remember, sit up on something if that's helpful to you. Hi, Linda. And then either stay upright or walk forward. Bow here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Right knee on top of left knee, Gomukhasana. And if that doesn't work, right, it's too intense for you, right shin in front of left shin. You can flex your feet, pull your toes back. Place in between. Beautiful. And then come back onto your hands and knees and slide the other knee in front. Walk your hands forward as you're taking your hips back. Feel your outer hip creases move back. Let your spine grow long and let your breath grow deep. Let your lips even slightly separate here. Just notice. Be the awareness. So always the opportunity that we have is to be the witness. And instead of being the witness, we get so involved, don't we? Walk your hands back until you sit between your heels. And then walk your hands forward if you'd like. See that your forehead softens. And maybe sitting upright is better for you. And again, maybe some kind of a prop underneath your seat is helpful. I know this is an early pose to be in. I know. I know. Like, she doesn't know. I know. Explore. Body speak to you. Beautiful. And walk back up. Stretch your legs out in front of you. And go for a wide V leg, open V. Maybe a blanket underneath your seat. And then bend your knees for just a moment. Bend your knees and dig your heels down. Yeah, that looks good. Dig your heels down into the floor and pull your heels back. And then press your sit bones back. So you have your seat going back as you walk your hands forward. Keep your knees bent. Dig your heels down, pull back. Walk forward, pull from the lowest part of your spine so the sacrum gets this nice lengthening. And then press your legs to any amount of straightness that they'll go. Sit bones wide, low belly draws in. Certainly if you have a prop, you can always put something underneath your forehead if you'd like. Word is prakasha, the space between. Visible, shining, bright, clear, manifest, open space. Expanded. Open space. The messenger here, he says, this is Lauren Roach, he says, the messenger is Vishnu. The place of the in-between, not the place of beginnings and not the places of endings, the place in between. Wide legs. Yeah. You can allow yourself sometimes when we take the practice, we slow it down just a little bit to just hang out. It's one of the things that happens during these retreats that we do is hanging out with yourself, meeting yourself. It's what we do in our practice of daily yoga, asana, right? Meet yourself. Good, rise back up, please. Come into a cross-legged position. Lean forward and come onto your hands and knees. And press back downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then take your time here. You can bend your elbows, you can bend your knees. Nice, Cam. Good, and then walk to the front of your mat. And come down into squat for just a moment. Kim, just take your legs wide and turn your toes wide. Yeah, just for a moment, because we are going to keep your knees bent. Yeah. Good, and then lie down on your back, please. Lie on your back. Hug your knees into your chest. And take your right ankle on top of your left knee, right ankle on top of left knee. Flex your right foot. Either use your hands or not to pull your left knee in toward your chest. Flex both feet, turn your toes up. And then soften your ribs. So your rib cage drops to the floor, but your heart lifts up toward the sky. That place in between of dropping in and raising up. Good. Slide that left leg to straight, keeping the ankle on top of the knee. Take the left leg straight up. Yep. Now this is also a little bit soon, but if you want to, take your arms alongside the body, lift your seat up so your bottom comes up off the floor, and try to bring your left leg parallel to the floor behind you. So it's like a half halasana. Yeah, so your butt comes up. Yep. Yep. Nice, Mark. Yes. Good. Come all the way back down. Good. And then slide your right knee on top of your left knee. So lying down, Gomukhasana. Right knee on top of left knee. Squeeze your knees in towards your navel. Try not to use your hands here, and squeeze your shins toward each other. Pull your shins in like crazy, but also have that same offering of pulling your sit bones wide. And then let yourself drift in that place in between, just that soft place, knowing and not knowing. Squeeze those shins. Good. Now, pull, without using your hands, pull your shins apart from each other. Pull apart. Unwind your legs. Place your feet on the floor. Lift your hips high to the sky. Clasp your hands underneath you and breathe. Witness yourself. Beauty, splendor, vastness. Lower your hips back down, ankle to knee, second side. Left ankle, right knee. Bring that right shin up and parallel it to the floor. Maybe clasp your hands behind, maybe not. Pressing your left knee away from you, drawing your right knee towards you. And again, you could do this with or without your hands. You did the 21 days with me. We played with the numbers 3, 6, 9 in manifesting. They're known as very powerful connection to spirit. So as we were down in Princeton, we were using that technique of 3, 6, 9 a little bit. And they passed by a house on the walk, the girls that were part of the retreat, and there was a house that the number was 3, 6, 9. I just wanted so badly to knock on the door and be like, do all your dreams come true? Do they? Do they all come true? Whack-a-doodle lady. Put your hands down on the floor. Lift your hips up if you'd like. Oh, straighten that leg. I'm sorry. Straighten that leg first. And then if you'd like to try to lift those hips up and take them back, that half halasana. And those of you in the room, you have the wall behind you, so feel free to push your foot into that wall if you're using it or if you're doing it. Good, and then lower down slowly if you've lifted up. Beautiful. And then go ahead and bring one knee on top, that left knee on top of the right knee. Squeeze your shins toward each other. And keep your sit bones moving wide. Draw in your breath. Notice how your navel engages here, maybe. And if it doesn't, draw it in, engage it. And then squeeze your shins away from each other, pull away. Good. Unwind your legs and plant your feet on the floor. Lift your hips up. Clasp your hands underneath you. Notice your chin lifting so the sides of your throat stays nice and long. Draw your ankles back. Draw your knees forward. Beautiful. Let your hips come down. Hug your right knee into your chest. Draw your left leg back down to the floor. Press your left heel into the floor. Press your thigh down into the floor. So think of the leg that's stretched out on the floor as the most important leg right now. Activate it. And then take your right leg up to the sky and hold behind your thigh, low, below the knee. And then press your thigh into your hands and press your heel toward the sky. But keep that leg that's on the floor active. Your outer right hip crease moves toward the front of your mat. So outer hip crease, imagine my hand is just there pulling your outer hip crease toward the front of your mat. Watch what's happening in your neck. Keep that light. Good, and then draw your knee back into your chest. Send your hips slightly over to the right. Take a spinal twist, dropping your right knee to the left. And then bend your straight leg and reach your right hand down to hold that ankle if you'd like. Take your right hand down to your left ankle. And then again, enjoy your breath. If you're not holding onto your ankle, take that right arm out to a letter, half letter T. So you really, yeah, there you go, Kim. Excellent. So my bird of wisdom is the eagle. So many eagles this past, we were there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the eagles were flying so often during our Dharma talks. It was really, really powerful. And the cicada, right? The cicada was all over Princeton. So interesting to me. Come on up and we'll change sides. So draw the left knee into your chest, hug it in, draw the right leg down to the floor and activate it. And then when you're ready, come into spinal twist. And then you can reach, oh, let's do it the way I did it on the other side. Thank you. Stretch that leg straight up to the sky first. Thank you. I know some people here are just like, no, that's not what you're doing. We will not do that. Thank you very much for disregarding what I said. Good. Push your thigh into your hands. Push your heel up toward the sky. But it's amazing to me because I know there's swarms of cicadas down there, you know, and she had like graveyards of cicadas in her yard. But it's fascinating to me, you know, they're not here, and so they're there. So what is the medicine? And so we looked up cicada medicine, and it was about releasing anxiety. And also the fascination about the lifespan and how cicadas, you know, hibernate and all of that. I mean, fascinating. Go ahead now and bend the knee if that's okay with you. Move the hips to the side. I'm just kidding. Move the hips to the side. Take the spinal twist and then reach down for that bottom ankle if you'd like. Interesting here in a spinal twist, and especially that you're holding that thigh stretch, push your sacrum back toward the left side of your mat a little bit. So you really get that back stretch here as well. And then open that chest and breathe deeply. How does it feel to be in that place in between? For some of us, maybe scary. One moment, the space is just there, hiding out in the open. No one can see me. And then with magic of attention, the spaces in between becomes bright with interaction. 2 breaths, 2 clouds, 2 mountains, 2 trees. Conversation between 2 people, space in between. It may feel like nothing. When we shift our attention to see that space, that magnetic space, that illumined space, that place that's rich in texture. What wonderful surprises. Good, come back to center. Good, and then just roll over onto your belly. You can, if you want, to bring your head to the front of the mat or just turn yourself around to be at the back of your mat, whatever feels good for you. Be you. And come on up to Sphinx pose. Bring your right forearm out in front of you so it parallels the front of your mat. Reach your left hand back for your left ankle. Thigh stretch. Draw the heel toward the outer hip. Spread your toes. And here, keep your navel drawn in. We have a tendency to let the rib cage just drop. Draw the navel in. And push the knee down. Find your breath. Gently releasing that leg and try the other side. Notice what it feels like to press your foot into your hand into your foot, and spread those toes. Yes. Keep the chest pulling forward, the navel drawing in, the softness in your eyes. Beautiful. And release. Draw your hands back for cobra. So slide your hands back by the rib cage. And rise up into cobra, lifting all the way up. Draw those shoulders back. Drag yourself forward. Beautiful, nice, Lisa. Nice. Squeeze those shins toward each other. And lower all the way back down. Nice, Allison. Press back, child's pose. Take a breath here, and then downward facing dog.
Doing that at home.
Yeah, I love it. Let those lips go. Let those lips go. Good. Step the right foot forward. Lower the left knee down to the mat. Anjaneyasana. Nice low lunge. Interlace your palms onto your right thigh and press it forward. And even see that knee, that's so nice. Let the knee come all the way to the second toe. And then notice your pelvis and see how it can release down, release down, release down. And maybe there's even a squeeze of the pelvic floor and a release, and a squeeze of the pelvic floor and a release. So much that we hold there. It's so much fear that we hold there. Good, and then reach back for that left ankle if you'd like. Left hand, left ankle, bringing the left ankle off the floor, thigh stretch here. And making sure that the top of that left thigh does not get hard. So move the top of the thigh back. And then you can reach the right arm up to the sky. If you're not reaching for the ankle, reach both arms up to the sky. That right arm or left arm reaching up, take the outer armpit back just a little bit more. And then slide your throat back, lean back. And then releasing the hands and the foot. If you're holding the foot, come into Ardha Hanumanasana, straighten the front leg. Pull up onto that heel, dig the heel down, pull it back. Keeping your left hip on top of your left knee. And then clasp your hands behind your back if you'd like to try to fly. Good, lift your shoulders up. Yes. Navel in. Beautiful. Place your hands down on the floor. Slide your right foot back in so your knee is bent once again. And then bring both hands inside your right foot. Now either keep your back knee down on the mat or lift your back knee up off the mat and walk your hands to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. You could drop down to your elbows or stay right where you are. Nice, Dana. So you're going to make sure your hips are pressing back, almost like your hips are reaching up toward downward dog, but your heart is reaching forward. Nice. Watch your front knee. Make sure it doesn't pass that second toe or doesn't move inward, I should say. And then maybe a couple of hip circles here, if that feels good to you. If there's resistance to hip circles, then do hip circles. I don't want to do them. Do them. Good. Come center. Raise your right arm up to the sky twist. Right arm up twist. Nice, Larry. Lean back, lean back, lean back. Good. Bring your hand down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. If you would like to go through vinyasa, here's plank, lower down, chaturanga, rise up, cobra, press back. Or left foot comes forward, low lunge. Place in between. Nice, Allison. Sweet. Hands down onto that left thigh, press it forward. And then taking the thigh stretch here, reach back for your right ankle, right hand, right ankle if you'd like. Anjaneyasana, Linda, so left foot forward. Good, make sure that that top right thigh is not hardening, so pull the inner thigh back and wide. Left arm lifts up if you'd like, and take that outer armpit back a little bit more. So I love the instruction, outer armpit, inner elbow back. That feels strong to me. Up your chin slightly and pull your throat back more. Yeah. Beautiful. And let the hands float down to the floor. And Ardha Hanumanasana, straighten that front leg, dig the heel down into the floor, pull back. Clasping your hands behind your back, half Hanuman. Good breathing, and then replace the hands down to the floor, rebend the front knee and walk your hands inside. Either lift the back knee or keep it down, walking your hands to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. You can either come down to your elbows or stay with straight arms. Breathing in and breathing out. And then walking the hands back in, taking that left arm to the sky twist. Yep. Yeah, and fall back, fall back, fall back. Beautiful. Nice, Lynn. Touch down, downward facing dog. Come on up to your hands and knees, and cat and cow. And come to that place in between where you're not catting and you're not cowing. That place where you have the rib cage lifted up, but the heart is moving forward and you're gazing forward. There's such power in your rib cage, such power in your core. And then slide your right leg back behind you and your left arm out in front of you. Reach back for the ankle if you'd like, or stay right where you are. Nice, Nancy. Beautiful. Yes. Thanks, Marjorie. Good. Now stretch your right leg back behind you again. Lower your left hand down to the floor. Lower your right toes down to the floor. Spin the heel down to the floor and reach your right arm up to the sky. Make sure your left knee is underneath your hip. Inhale your right leg up to the sky. Reach your right leg up and reach back for that ankle. Fall back, fall back. Right hand, right ankle if you can. Beautiful. Lower the right hand down, lower the right knee down. Take a breath in and out. And then stretch your left leg behind you, your right arm out in front of you. Reach back for that ankle if you'd like, or stay right where you are. Nice, Sheryl. Yep. Great, Sarah. And then as you release that leg back, lower the toes down to the floor, spin the heel to the floor, right hand to the floor, left arm to the sky. Notice that ability of all of us to push the ribs forward. So draw the ribs in, keep that stability. Inhale the left leg up, reach back for that ankle. Nice, Lisa. Open that throat, lean back, lean back, lean back. Pull those toes back, open that shoulder, so pretty. Nice, Susan. And release back down, gorgeous, downward facing dog. Good, take those knees back down to the floor, walk your hands up to your hips and slide your right leg out to the right. Come on up to that right heel. Right leg out to the right, come on up to that right heel, or you can plant the right foot. I like coming up to the heel, but do it your way. And then slide your right arm down your leg, take your left arm over your side body, gate pose. See how long you can stretch that side body. Maybe even look down towards your right leg and see if you can slide a little bit more. Yeah. Inhale, come on up and change sides. Place that knee down. Take the left leg out to the side, come up to your heel. Slide your left arm down your left leg. Feel like you lift up and then you draw over. You lift up and then you draw over. Beautiful. Rise back up, both knees on the mat, hands on your hips. Either tuck your toes or keep the tops of your feet on the mat, preparing for Ustrasana camel pose. So lift the chest, lift the shoulders, draw the ribs in, and reach back for your ankles, or keep your hands at your low back and press down as you're lifting up. Camel pose, Ustrasana. Beautiful, Veronica. Gorgeous. Inhale, come on up, press back into child's pose. If you don't have a bunch of friends that you want us to come to a retreat at your house, we are doing 2 retreats coming up. So look for that if that's something you're interested in. One is very close by. It's only 20 minutes away. That's in September. It's called a place called Blueberry Lake. And the other one is up in Vermont in August. Walk your upper body to the right side of the mat, stretching the left arm. Really pull that left arm as long as it'll go. Maybe even feel the left hand pressing down and pulling back as you're extending forward. Keep breathing, just feeding yourself with breath. Walk your hands to the left side of the mat. And feel that place of you extending, expanding. Do not worry about possible or impossible. Trust me, I'm saying this to myself. It has nothing to do with you. Come back to center. Come on up to your hands and knees. Slide your right arm out to the right. Thread it underneath your left, threading the needle. Walking your left arm either over the top of your head or taking it up to the sky, wrapping it around your back, as long as the shoulder stays open. So don't let the head of that arm bone fall forward. Maybe you want to take your left leg out to the left. That's a fun way to do it. Pressing the foot down to the floor. Nice. Yeah. And rise back up and switch sides. Beautiful. Stay here, breathe. And rise up. Downward facing dog. Take you through vinyasa if you'd like. We'll cat and cow here. Right foot steps forward when you're ready. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Back knee is on the mat here. And we're going to work ourselves into Hanumanasana. So straighten that front leg, hands on the floor, frame the front foot. Actually, let's do it like this. Take your hands inside the right foot. Move your right foot slightly more out to the right. If it was on a clock, it'd be like the number 2. Take it straight, though. Go straight. And then turn your right toe slightly inward. So you have that sense of letting the right hip go really wide as you can take that right hip. Yeah, right sit bone super wide. And now slide it forward toward that number 2, any amount, both hands inside or on blocks. Yeah, slide that leg as far forward as it will go comfortably. Dig the heel down, pull it back. And then once you come to the fullest form you can here, then you can go ahead and frame the front foot again, bring it back to the center. Gives you a little bit more space to play when it's off to the side. Hanumanasana. Split pose. Keeping the sit bones wide. And if you'd like to bow over that front leg, go ahead and do that. Stay upright. You can do that. Beautiful cat trim. Yeah. Good. Slowly weave yourself back to downward facing dog. If you'd like to take through vinyasa again, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, left foot comes forward into that low lunge once again. And you're working now toward Hanumanasana, bringing both hands inside of your left foot. Bring your left leg over if it was a clock number 10. Dig the heel down, pull it back, and widen that left sit bone a lot. Push that inner seat wide, inner thigh wide, and slide that leg as far forward as comfortable for you, or maybe right to that edge, not past it. And once you find that place, then you could frame the front foot again, bring it back towards center. Enjoy the space of the breath, space between the thoughts, the space between the clouds. Beautiful. Slide back into downward facing dog. Again, vinyasa of choice. And then we're going to go from downward dog to squat. So walking to the front of your mat, coming into squat. And we're going to come down to sit. But stay in squat for a moment if you can. If you can't, Kim, bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees drop wide. Otherwise, stay in squat. If you want to try an arm balance here, crow pose, hands down to the floor, sliding your knees to the upper shelf of your arms, or stay in squat and really breathe deep to release into your seat. Sarah. Sarah's watching you, Veronica. I know, Sarah. I wasn't watching you until I saw Sarah's face. Good. And then come on down, take a seat to bring the soles of your feet together. Now, if you have a block, put the block between your feet. It's going to be a really nice place to push into. Make sure that the baby toe side of your foot stays anchored to the floor, but press into the block and send your sit bones back and wide. Really press the sit bones back and then come forward any amount. If you don't have a block, don't worry about it. Just put your feet together. Keep your shins strong here. So maybe even as you're squeezing your feet into the block, lift your knees up just a little bit as you feel yourself. It's not the full pose, I know, but take your knees up just a little bit and then press your baby toes down more. Activate your shins just a little bit and then let your knees just simply drop back down to the floor or toward the floor. Good. And keep breathing. If you have a block between your feet, just remove the block and now press your feet together and just see if that gave you a little bit more open space. Maybe not, but maybe so. The place in between. Feel your low back and feel your middle back. Feel your upper back. As you rise back up, slide your right leg out in front of you. Bring your left foot into your inner right thigh, coming into Janu Sirsasana. Now widen your left knee more out to the left. So pull your left knee back more than you usually do. Pull it back. And then keep your right foot flexed. Then walk yourself right into the center, so as if your right leg was stretched out wide to the right, but it's not, it's bent. Just walk down the center. So don't come over your right leg, come more into the center. Yep, that's it. And then get those sit bones to stay wide, 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 wide. Navel in. Good, now allow your right hand to come onto your left knee. Right hand onto your left knee. Right hand, left knee, parry. Left arm over your ear, side stretch. Great, Renee. And then see how it feels to now pull your whole body over that right leg and bow down to Shirshasana. Both arms come forward. Nice. Allowing your nervous system to completely relax. Rise up. Pause to feel. And change legs. Taking that right knee further back than usual. Walking your hands through the center of the body, or through the center of the legs, I should say, straight ahead. Pressing the seat back. And bringing your left hand to your right knee and side stretching. So sweet before Janu Shirshasana. Get that side body to get as long as you can. Really push down that right knee if you can. And then take that deep twist over your left leg and bow. Beautiful. Keep that long, deep breath going. Ever so slowly walk it back up. Pause to feel. Stretching both legs out in front of you. Bend your knees. Roll back onto your seat. Lift your feet off the floor. Navasana, excuse me, both pose. Stay up. Yep, just lift your feet up. Draw your knees deeply towards your chest or your chest deeply towards your knees. And then tip your right toes down to the floor as if you're putting your right toes in a little pool of water. And then lift it back up. And then your left. And then your right. And then your left. Good. Now both legs up. Try to straighten your legs and start to lower down halfway so you come to Ardha Navasana. And then lower yourself all the way down onto the floor and hug your knees into your chest. And come into happy baby pose. Reach for your insteps. You kind of come into shoulder stand. So If you're not doing shoulder stand, feel free to take your legs just straight up to the sky and stay there. If you're taking shoulder stand, you might decide to come on up and put a blanket underneath your shoulders, or maybe even slide your legs up the wall. Lisa, that looks nice too. Make sure it's a shoulder stand, so allowing your shoulders to hold this, not your neck. Little space. First, you may feel nothing, but as your awareness shifts levels toward the subtle, the space between begins to seem like the most dynamic thing happening on magnetic fields. When you get this, the invisible somehow becomes illumined and richly textured. And this is such a wonderful surprise that you may burst out laughing. And then ever so slowly begin to lower yourself back down. If your legs are up the wall, stay there for a moment. And as you bring your feet back down to the floor, just roll your head from side to side. Again, if your legs are up the wall, you're welcome to stay there. I want you to take one final bridge with the block underneath your sacrum and or come into full wheel. So if you're like, I really want that full wheel, here's your opportunity. If you would like to put a block underneath your sacrum, here's your opportunity. For those of you who came into full wheel, when you feel like you are complete, you come down from that. For those of you on the block, stay. As you lift your seat off the block, lower your hips back down to the floor, hug your knees into your chest. And roll up to sit. So Jupiter went into retrograde right at the summer solstice. So bring your Jupiter finger to touch your thumb and bring that onto your lap. Jnana Mudra. Retrograde does not mean that we're all messed up now. As soon as we heard the word retrograde, we're all like, ah, crap. No. Jupiter is the planet of great abundance, prosperity, and so it allows us to move inward. Close your eyes if you haven't yet. Just look at what it is inside ourselves that we're reaching for. What are our dreams? What are our hopes? What are our desires? And are they in alignment with our greatest good? It's time to observe, move inside. Let's just take another minute or two here. I'll bring you out to just sit with yourself, meditate. You can stay here as long as you'd like. If you'd like to come down to lie on your back for Shavasana, you're welcome to do that as well. And if there's a spinal twist that you'd like to do before Shavasana, enter into that now. Begin to deepen your breath. Let your body begin to stretch and yawn in any way that serves you well. Draw your knees into your chest if you're lying on your back. Roll to the right side. You come on up to sit. Bring your hands together at your heart center. May we be blessed and bless each other with all of our intimate desires for the highest good. Inhale for the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding your hands to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a beautiful day. Make it great. Go play.
Thank you.